let's just very quickly. Robert Kiyosaki is talking about this.
I hope there's not a number three, but I tell you, that saying, may you live in interesting times. I think this is interesting, spooky, and empire changing. I think we're watching the end of the American empire. And there's a law called Gresham's Law. And Gresham's Law says bad money drives out good money. So this is bad money here. It's called the US dollar. I call it toilet paper today. And this is good money here. This is silver and this is gold. So what happened in 64 and 71, they took the gold out of this paper, toilet paper right here. And in 64, they took it out of our silver coins. So Gresham's Law is in action today. America has been kind of a bully because we had the reserve currency of the world. So this is Emergency Podcast number 2. This number 1, please go to it, is burning up the airways right now. Our special friend and always at the right time is, Andy Scheckman. And he is adding so much dimension to my thoughts. And I think his wisdom and his experience and his foresight as to what's happening in the world is crucial. So this is Emergency Podcast number 2. The thing we're going to be talking about today is what happens if and when Mexico joins the BRICS. What are the repercussions? What are the shockwaves? What's going to happen? Or as they say in Hispanic, ¿qué pasa? What's going to happen?
So certainly, and I know you wanted me to just briefly describe what the BRICS are to your listeners, and for those that haven't been following this information, I think it's really very, very, very important. And, I'd like to first throw out that so many things are happening all around us. And while they're significant, these individual events in and of themselves have less significance than when you put them all together. And the things that are happening inside, the blunders, if you will, that are happening inside the United States only exacerbate the consequences that are happening and the realities that are happening outside the border. In other words, the U.S. blunders, I believe, are inspiring the rest of the world, the international community, to unite in opposition to it and in joint establishment of mutually beneficial platforms of politics and economy and trade and currency and finance and culture and education and international security and all of these things that, as you mentioned, the bullying and the sanctions and the hegemony and the hypocrisy of the West, I believe, is coming to an end. And it is those types of actions by the West that I think has squandered the good graces that we have had for many years of the international community. And when we talk about the BRICS...
One second. I'm going to summarize what Andy said. America has pissed off the rest of the world.
Yeah, yes.
We've been the bully. We've been the bully with this thing. We're now a credit-based economy. In other words, we print fake money and we spread it throughout the world. But the rest of the world is actually producing the food, the gold, the silver, the machinery, and all this. So finally, the rest of the world said enough's enough.
Right. Well, and I think by the end of this discussion, people will certainly understand it. But you're right. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa comprise the BRICS, and these are countries that are uniting in common interests and doing it without the bullying, if you will, of the Western hegemony, and they're beginning to set themselves apart from the rest of the world. And
what is a BRICS? What does it mean? Why do you think they're so important today? I mean, they're the most powerful force in the world today.
Well, and that's kind of what I'm getting at with talking about the Belt Road, is this coalition of countries standing up against the Western hegemony. And that's really what it is. And, it's not just Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. You have well over a dozen countries that have already applied, such as Algeria and Argentina and Iran, the United Arab Emirates, Nicaragua, Turkey, Indonesia, Senegal, Nigeria, Afghanistan, Egypt, Kazakhstan, and the biggest one of all, Saudi Arabia, has formally applied to the BRICS nations.
That ain't good.
So when you talk about this growing cohesion of countries, there are others that they're already set their eyes on. And in Brazil's backyard, you have Argentina. In Latin America, you have Nicaragua. In Central America, Algeria. You have Egypt. Excuse me. In near South Africa, you have Algeria that are growing together. Those are the BRICS plus. Now they're talking about adding more countries. Mongolia,
Dealing in this.
correct.
19 fake money. So you take our, so crucial, average person can't see it.
I'm trying to find where he's talking about the trade routes, but basically, you know how we have the what is it called, the Silk Road? You probably have a little bit of a better insight than me, but basically, what's known as like the Silk Road, right? The BRICS agreement and the alliance, this global alliance of these superpower countries, they're creating their own trade routes, right? You know how we have the Panama Canal, which basically controls like trade coming across this part of the world. Well, they're creating their own. They have their own trade routes, right? So it really is this is a global economic shift, and it's just something to be aware of, right? Something that we need to pay attention to what's going on in the world economy. The news doesn't really talk about it. Like, we don't hear about this stuff. The most important event.
Man, we got to prepare. You know, aware is one thing, preparing is something else. So I remember I said that coming in. We got to have urgency. We need urgency, scramble for this money that may not be what we want, but the more we have of it, the more we can survive the inflation that's going to come from this if the dollar should collapse.
Yeah.
Get going, y'all. Get on these houses, get on these properties, get on these multifamilies and land deals, and make your money to make yourself impenetrable. This stuff is serious.
Yeah.
It's serious, y'all.
Now's the time. Like, we've been talking about this for a couple of years now, right? We're like, we see what's coming down the turnpike. It's coming.
Yep.
And so what I see is over the next about 3-year window, right? I'm not, speculation is anyone could do it, but my spirit tells me we have 2 to 5 years, right? We got a 2 to 5 year window to get our houses in order, right? To get our finances in place, to diversify and make sure that our investments are in different areas. Now's a good time to look into like gold and oil, right? Because worst case scenario, if the US dollar does plummet, right, they unpeg from the petrodollar, then what do, right? Oil and gold are really the only stores of value at that point, right? Obviously real estate, we're always going to have a need, but what does that look like? So just stuff that, we just encourage you guys to do a little bit more research on, just to understand what's happening in the international community, right? Like, literally, what I've seen over the past few years is like the media and the news, they just create a funny narrative to keep us like distracted from what's actually going on. Because if the people actually understood the depth of the actual current events that are happening, they wouldn't be as compliant, if that makes sense, right? So anyways, like Jamal said, time to get your household in order, really buckle down. There's going to be a lot of people in distress, a lot of homeowners that are falling behind on payments. There's a lot of business owners that are having trouble keeping up with payroll. Across the board, a lot of people are going to need service, right? And real estate, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for us to step in as real estate investors where we can solve real estate related problems. Now, this week's been a really good week, right? I hate to open up with doom and gloom, right? But we like to show these events just to be, hey, this is the stuff that is happening behind the scenes. You need to be aware of it, right? But on the other side of that, we should actually always open up with wins, right? We always share our wins. That's how the meeting should always start. But it's been a really good week for us. We got 2 LOIs on 2 multifamily properties that Jay brought through. Jay, you want to talk a little bit about those?
Yeah.
Sure. What's up, guys? We got 2 LOIs and 2 crazy deals right now. It's been a task, between me and Ben. Sarah's been a rock star on that, of course. Hopefully we can actually get a pull on one that's actually in Dallas. We have, I think, 3 more prospects that we haven't, we're waiting on LOIs for those, but It's looking pretty good. Very strong. We should have an answer today, Ben, on the Dallas portfolio.
Good deal. I talked with Benjamin this morning too. He likes the property a lot. The broker was hounding him, bro. So I said, hey. So yeah, I got a lot more background from him as well. He's got he's got like 180 doors, but his multifamily is like 4 doors and less. So this will be his largest unit. It's 112 units, right?
Right.
Yeah. But yeah. Jason's got it down. His broker outreach strategy, he brings in some solid freaking deals. And it's, we've been hitting them, gotten really close on a few, but this week we got 2 in, right? So we got 2 birds in the hand that we're leaning in. We should have formal purchase agreement coming through on the Atlanta deal, I'm thinking tomorrow. So that's a big win, right? That multifamily is a little bit newer for us. You guys hear us talk about it. But I'm always fully transparent. Hey guys, we're hitting the pavement hard with the multifamily. And we've been pivoting from single family into the space. So you guys literally get to see it from like building out this foundation. It's been a lot of hard work, but it's been fun, right? And Jason's got an agreement with me once we get one of these big, well, actually we got to hit $1 million. Once we hit $1 million between us in net revenue, he's got to jump out of an airplane.
$1 million, not a $250,000, be $1 million, not a $250,000.
Yeah, that's what I said. $1 million. Once we $1 million in net revenue. Once we hit $1 million in net revenue between me and you, we're going skydiving. That's
what's up. I got one in Houston. I got to send you, Ben. I just got a guy called me yesterday, gave me the full one. I had to fill out all the accredited buyer stuff, so I got one in Houston, 177 doors.
Yeah,
I got it, around 11 mil. I'll send that to you through the mail.
Beautiful, bro. Dude, Sarah's hitting it hard. Sarah's got
can I add this real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I will say this for the team: whenever you guys going for multifamily, especially the buyers that we have right now, being Ben in the fold, Sarah can actually tell you what I would normally do is try get an idea of what our buyers are looking for, as far as like cap, NOI. That would actually help before submitting those deals over to Lisa, Sarah, or Ben. That way, if it's a fit for those buyers. Right. So what you want to do, what I've been doing for the past, since Ben changed my mind about the shift with the market right now with single family, my focal point has been multi-land deals, more so multi-family. So what I've been doing, I've never, got any gains from a multi-family before. This is going to be my first one. But I've actually knowledge myself as much as possible about these multi-family deals. And I can honestly tell you, like, I've known more about multi-families today than I've been probably like 3-4 months ago.
All right, that's what's up.
Understanding your asset is very important as far as that different classes from A, B, and C. More investors want class B and class C right now. The premise behind that.
It's funny you said that. I got an assignment, right? I got an assignment from a hedge fund in Cleveland, in Denver. And what he was saying, he said he wants to spill over. They're going from 5 mil to 30 mil, right? And what he said, well, Jamal, I want a class, if it's class B, I want it more so in a class A area. If it's a class C, I want it in a class B area. It was 7 cap, so he broke it down, man. Everything had to be add value.
So the premise,
you right on that, bro.
The premise behind that, Jamal, the premise behind that, why most investors prefer class B and class C, that way, you as an investor can actually come and do what's called a value add, where you can probably add like a laundromat or, a point laundromat, whatever you can add to pretty much create value and increase rent. That's the premise of doing that.
All right. So it's funny you said that because that's what he said in the criteria. I just got it the other day, man. But like I told the guys, I got that from working with Investor Syndicate and being seen. The guy saw me working with this in the hedge fund. Well, I like that guy. I'm gonna go after him. So I got that criteria. But I'm gonna share that with Ben first before I ship it over there and see what the guys say. I will share with my family first. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, thanks, Jay. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it. Yeah, it's moving, guys. Again, we are in the biggest transfer of wealth in history. Money is changing hands at absorbent rates. And a lot of these multifamily groups, when the market was so dang good, right? I didn't see it shifting as quick as it did. As quick as they
Right.
hiked interest rates, nobody had time to pivot, right? So a lot of these multifamily apartment owners, they leveraged into these assets using private capital, right? Private investors' money. Well, that private capital is a short-term loan, 6 to 2 years, right? 6 months to 2 years. If they're not able to turn it in order to refi with a bigger traditional institution, right? Well, the terms are much higher on that, right? And the investors want their money back. So a lot of these groups stepped into these value add opportunities where some of the units could have used some renovation so you could raise rents, or like Jason said, at a laundromat. You're figuring out how can we add to the bottom line when it comes to the cash flow, right? A lot of these groups over leveraged, and they're in a position where they just need to get out from under these loans, right? Out from under these opportunities. So there's a lot of creative finance deals coming into the fold where sellers are offering seller finance, seller carryback, assumable loans, right? A lot of multifamily apartments are being traded and a lot of them off market. Through Jason's strategy, he's using his broker outreach, building relationships, talking about exactly what we're looking for, right? I like what he said about you want to know what your buyers are looking for before you even start. That same principle goes for single family, right? We want to reverse engineer our marketing. I don't ever want to start marketing before I know the appetite that my buyers are after.